Welcome to the Yoga Nation, the Spirit of Gratitude podcast on the One Integration platform. Hello, friends. My name is Yogesh Patel, and this podcast explores the themes of bullying, self-awareness, and the power of our inner spirit, including the silent battles we all face. Join me every week as I invite high-profile guests as we explore how adversity shapes us, how gratitude lifts us, and how we can all uncover the inner strength that we all have within ourselves. Join the conversation. I appreciate you listening in.
Have you ever thought that playing a character on stage or screen could actually help you discover more about yourself? My next guest does just that for a living. The talented and beautiful Canadian actress Alaina Huffman, known for bringing unforgettable characters to life, from Black Canary in Smallville to the fierce Abaddon in Supernatural and the resilient TJ in Stargate Universe. Beyond the screen, Alaina's journey through playing heroes, villains, and everything in between has given her a rare perspective on strength, identity, and self-awareness. We'll explore how stepping into these different roles has shaped the way she understands herself and how those lessons can be applied to all of us. With gratitude, welcome to the podcast, Alaina.
Hi. Hi. I love that intro. Thank you. I'm going to walk around with that.
There you go. Beautiful and talented you are, certainly.
Thank you. It's so nice to be here with you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. You've got a new movie coming out. Tell us about it.
Yes, Waltzing with Brando. It is a great movie about Marlon Brando, the late great Marlon Brando, and his desire to inhabit the island of Tetiaroa in Tahiti. So it takes place in Tahiti in the 70s. And the thing that I love about it, the reason I signed on for it, a couple of reasons. The main one was the nostalgia, like to tell a story about such a huge iconic character like Marlon Brando, and to see it from his personal perspective. Like, he recounts, and we say it many times in the movie, like being in Tahiti, and I can attest to this, is just existing. And it's I remember we had some,
I'm sorry, just existing. What do you mean by that?
like, there's no he often he referred to his Oscars as door stoppers. Like, so when he was in Tahiti, he just was. He wasn't a movie star. He wasn't, expected to do anything. He just existed. And we had several drivers and things while we were there, getting us to and from. And I remember, really cool perspective is, like, one of my drivers was like, "How are you enjoying the island?" And I was like, "It's great." And they said, "You're so lucky. There's nothing to do here. You can just be." And then the other driver said, "You're so lucky. There's so much to do here." And they meant the same thing. It was like, there's time to be. It's hiking and fishing and napping and just existing. And it's yeah, so the story takes place of Brando um inhabiting this island. And so my character, I play Dana, and I'm married to Bernard Judge, who is played by John Heater, and he's an architect who gets the infrastructure together. And so we camp on this island for 3 years, and eat coconuts and crabs and homeschool our daughter. And it's all for this vision that Brando had, which is now a very exclusive hotel, the Brando. And it's owned in part by Leonardo DiCaprio, and it's an environmental feat. And he had a big emphasis on the environment even way back then.
Is that close to the island of Morea?
Yes, we actually shot it on Morea.
Oh, really? Okay. I vacationed there.
Okay, so see, there's nothing to do.
I can't stand that.
You like to be busy?
No, I love my naps. In fact, I chase tranquility, that calm, undisturbed mind, which is, I think, what not even the tropics, but any beach does for you. Because I think that the salt water itself acts as a natural healing mechanism where it absorbs negativity.
Yeah, and anywhere you go, as you know, on the island of Morea, is like, it's not very big, and it's just majestic. Also, we shot in the winter there. It was June, so it was winter for them. So the sun went down at like 5 p.m. And we stayed on this beautiful coconut farm. Oftentimes when I'm away doing a movie, like it's it's a little bittersweet because I'm a single mom of 4 kids, so I have to like delegate and figure out a system to have my kids because they're all in school and stuff. And so I do have systems in place. I've got a great supportive family. Um, so there's a little anxiety along with that, and then also I go from being like a full time mom to just working as an actor, and it's a little bit of a shift, and it can be kind of lonely to be on location. And so I really enjoyed the process of like, I just really went in. I worked with a coach the whole 6 weeks I was there, and I did a lot of like introspective work. And at 5 p.m., a lot of times I'd take a shower, I'd read a book, and I'd go to bed. It was beautiful.
And how do you actually choose your characters? I mean, is it the director? Is it the script? Is it the depth of the character themselves? How do you, as an actor, do that?
It's a version of all of the things. I mean, I think it was Michael Caine. He said, an actor takes a job for a few reasons. One, they really, really love the script. Two, they really love the character. Three, they have to eat.
It's not reverse order.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, we're self-employed, right? And so a lot of times, like, if you get an offer or an option comes to you and you're not doing anything, and you might not love the script. I actually did a movie early last year. Um, I thought about the middle of the movie. I was like, was this written on Chat GPT, guys? Like, it did not have a lot of character depth, and it was, and that when it's like really hard to get into the character, but it paid me, and I was able to do the job and feed my family. So lots of different reasons. And sometimes you don't know. I mean, with Supernatural, I had no idea that playing this character would lead to 15 years of being on this world tour with a fandom that's just robust and amazing and embracive and supportive and philanthropic. I mean, it's amazing to be a part of.
Yeah, you're very popular at Comic Con.
Yeah, yeah. We're like on tour like we're Mick Jagger.
I'm sorry?
We're like on tour like a rock star.
Like the Stones, huh?
Like exactly the same.
Got Keith Richards and the entourage. Well, take a step back for us, Elena. How did you get into acting, and how did you know that this was your chosen path?
It literally just happened to me. I think I feel this way about everything in my life. I just sort of allow and then sort of lean into what feeds me. So I guess if I were to like really look at
So I'm sorry, you mentioned allow, because Willie, what I want to do is unpack that and bring it to light where perhaps a person that's listening to the room, if they're perhaps uncertain about their career choice or what they should do, especially for college graduates. You mentioned allow. Could you elaborate from that perspective?
I love to be in a space of the only way I can describe it is like a visual, and that's just literally like heart open posture like you would do in a yoga class at the top of your mat. You just literally are a vessel and allow, I think, get out of your head and get into your heart. um so I know easier said than done, but it's a practice, right? Anyone who meditates, anyone who is, studies the word. I mean, it's a practice. I'm a gym rat. Like, you don't go to the gym and bench 350. You build. And so I think the process of creating and curating your life as an artist is allowing opportunities to present themselves and then pivoting, being available. So I think you can study. I think you can have an idea of what you want to do. And I would say always like be open to, oh, it's not what I thought, but it's what I felt, and move towards the feeling. So I don't know. That's kind of the way it's always happened for me. So I started, ironically, my dad put my sister and I in these speech classes. I was about 8 years old or so. And he's a business guy. He's an engineer with a degree in business. And so he was a, high level executive in the tech world. And he wanted us to have confidence. he wanted us to be able to public speak. And I think his dream would have been like I'd be a scholar or something. He didn't know he turned me into an artist. I could play one. And it was like this quirky theater teacher in the Stratford Theater in Ontario, which is very famous. Bill Shatner came up through there, um, and so I think that was probably the origin of it. It at least planted a seed. And then I was scouted in a mall several years later when I was 14, and as a model. And I was living in Vancouver at the time. And that, again, I just sort of, the scout approached me and my mom at the mall, and I went in for the meeting. Yeah, and they said, "Oh, I'm a model scout. I'm interested in, seeing if you'd be interested in modeling." And so we went in for the meeting, and I think like a couple months later, I was in Tokyo working as a model.
But you had to put yourself in that position, though. I mean, maybe not you, but certainly that fateful day where you and your mom did go to the mall, right? So I think part of it is, yes, you allow yourself to have these experiences, but on the flip side, you need to put yourself in those positions.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, that was literally like a stranger just kind of approached us. But yeah, I mean, just being, and then I did that for years. All throughout high school, I homeschooled myself. I was a model, and yeah, that we didn't have laptops, we didn't have email. I would carry all my books, and I'd FedEx my papers back and get them FedEx back, and um so I kind of had a system for that. And then when I was 18, I was living in Germany, and my dad got relocated to Texas, and I was under 21, and so I qualified for citizenship under his visa. And this was pre 9/11. And he worked for Motorola, so it was a huge company, and it was, the immigration process was, very handled on our part. And I was modeling a lot in Texas, and then New York, and then my agency sat me down at one point, and she said, we're seeing more and more actors on the covers of magazines and less models. We're going to open a theatrical division. Do you have any interest? And I was like, I think so. I did this thing when I was a kid, little theater programs, and I just started making movies, and it just kind of, again, I just said yes.
Wow. Again, you allowed yourself to say yes, and the proverbial let the chips fall where they may. Yeah. Well, that leads me to my next question. I mean, every character you've played, from Black Canary to Abaddon, carries a different type of strength.
Abaddon is the pronunciation, just to correct it. Yeah.
Abaddon. Thank you. So again, you've played these characters that had a different type of strength, and when you've stepped into these roles, how much of Alaina sneaks in, and how much do they end up teaching you about yourself?
I always learn. I'm always so incredibly grateful for all of those experiences. And I get asked a lot, like, what's your favorite character that you've played? And my joke is, it depends on, it's like choosing your favorite kid. It depends on the day. Who's being a brat, um but they're all very distinct times in my life. And a lot of that is the influence of how I played them. And so TJ on Stargate, she's probably one that's like the most near and dear to my heart. I think I learned so much from her. I didn't like her at first. I thought she was annoying. I thought she was a bit of a crybaby. She would always cry. She was like, I can't do it. And what I learned was, uh, Alaina, had to surrender to my vulnerability. And that was her superpower. She expected to be honored and loved, and she expected to be supported. And I kind of didn't. I was more like muscle through it, headstrong. And she's a soldier. She's trained to fight, and she's also a medic. But she still was like, empowered by her vulnerability. And I learned a lot from her.
And that's not necessarily a weakness, correct?
No, no, that's her strength. That's her superpower. And I just learned so much from her. And it was also a very interesting time in my life. Personally, I was pregnant on the show. I got pregnant during the first season, and I didn't mean to. I actually probably should have got divorced, to be honest, but we made up and had a baby. And they wrote it in, and it was a really cool storyline for TJ. Um, but it was probably the best year of my marriage because we had reconciled, and then we ended up getting divorced a few years later. But um, that whole time frame in my life was amazing, and I credit that to TJ's presence in my life.
Fictional life helped with your non-fictional life.
I think there's always a part of you that's going to be in your characters. Abaddon is like the queen of hell. She's pure evil. She has no humanity. She's a lot of fun, but she's tremendously arrogant. I mean, she, like, to her own detriment. That's what took her out. And I always say she chose to be possessed. Josie is her vessel, her human vessel. Gotta follow the lore. Um, Josie is her human vessel, and she chose to be possessed by Abaddon because she felt it was an opportunity. She's from the 60s, and she felt it was an opportunity to sort of break the glass ceiling as a woman. And I always thought, like, the better story, or a more empowered storyline, if they were to continue that storyline after Abaddon died, would be to tell the story of Josie, because she's a human and she has human qualities, and she has desire and she has passion and she has strength, but she also has vulnerability and empathy and um, all the things Abaddon did not have.
So between your characters and you as a person, Alaina, what would you say to a person that is perhaps going through a challenge in their life, that whether they're trying to overcome adversity or perhaps redefine strength through gratitude? So what would you say to that person?
I mean, I love what you're doing with gratitude, because I think that is just the essence of function in your daily life. I'm a believer in God, and I read scripture, and I feel like there's more moments in my day that I'm in gratitude than not. I know the opposite of life that I live. I think sometimes when we're uncomfortable, we want to escape it. And I would just encourage um, sitting sometimes in the discomfort, not getting help, but I don't know if we have to distract ourselves all the time. Um, I know that this is like a trend. People say, like, they're raw dogging their flight, like they're not going to listen to music or watch movies. I travel all over the world. I never turn the TV on. If anything, I'll have like meditation music, and I just sit on a 14-hour flight. I think sometimes we need to sit and be, which is what Brando learned in Tahiti. But no, I'm not saying suffer. I think there's a time when there's a difference. There's a time when you need to get help. There's a time when you do need to escape elements, if it's toxic family life or work environment. I mean, there are obviously definite reasons to um, seek help and understand why you're uncomfortable, or being abused. We definitely don't want to make excuse for abuse.
Well, I think there's also a similarity between your profession of acting and gratitude. I mean, actors, and I got this from ChatGPT around perspective and empathy. It says actors step into other people's lives, seeing the world through their eyes. Gratitude works similarly. It shifts the focus from what's missing to what's meaningful, helping people empathize with others' struggles and triumphs.
I love that. Yeah, I mean, I feel that you listed the characters that I play. What you didn't list and what you don't know is that I audition probably 60 or 70 times a year. and I might work once. So that same energy is going into, I have an audition right after you and I get off this call, to play a fire chief. I'm going to step into this woman's life and really just absorb her energy and try to understand the perspective, that she's coming with. And it's an exercise, right? It's like going to the gym.
So how do you deal with rejection then? I mean, if you're batting 1 out of 60, I mean, that's probably would be something like my stat, right, on the softball field.
Again, that's a practice. That's that's staying in gratitude for the opportunity. I love, a friend of mine told me this story. He said he ran into a friend at an audition, and this friend was a more working actor than him, and he kind of was discouraged. He walked in the room and he's like, "You're here. Like, I'm not going to get this job. What's the point?" You know, and we all get there at a certain point. And I said, "Well, what's wrong?" And he said that. He's like, "Well, you're here. What am I even doing here?" And he goes, "Man, I don't know, but about you, but for me, this is the only audition I've had all week. I get to be an actor today." So I try to look at it like every opportunity is an opportunity for me to be an artist. It doesn't pay me, but it pays me. So I
It probably nurtures your soul too.
that yeah, it pays me here, it pays me here. So I think if you understand that, and I think for me, I just sort of take the practice of, uh when I win, I win. When I don't, there's another opportunity. And I'm yeah, I'm grateful. I just think gratitude, really.
And I think that's a good reminder for people that are just happening to go through those motions, right? Whether they're a middle-aged person, someone perhaps in their, those that are young at heart, or even just an adolescent trying to know their place in the world.
Yeah, and again, I think being open, and like, I don't know what opportunities are going to turn into what. I didn't know my one episode of Supernatural would take me around the world, would connect me with people. Um I you just you really don't know where it's going to lead you. So I just always try to stay open. But I also do wish this was a conversation that we had, and I speak about this publicly. We all know firefighters have other jobs, right? You can't sustain a living as a firefighter. There's a lot of downtime. We all know teachers, either enjoy family life in the summer, or take something part-time in the summer. I wish that was a bigger conversation. Like, just because you have to take another job doesn't mean you're not successful. Um, there's all different ways to make.
That means you're struggling. Part of it would be.
That's the implication, but it it's not necessarily, because we're multifaceted people, right? So I, for example, I returned to the world of modeling. We went on strike a couple of years ago, and I had this. My daughter's a model, and the agency she signed with asked me to sign me, and I didn't take it too much. I just thought, oh, whatever. If something comes up, great. If it doesn't, that's fine too. And then when we went on strike, I said, well, I actually have quite a bit of time. I had just come off a show. I was on Riverdale at the time. And we finished right when the strike started. And I was like, well, if anything comes up, let me know. I don't know how long this strike is going to go on. I've been modeling almost full time for the last 3 years. And I never would have expected that I'm 45. Um, but again, I just kind of said, sure, let's see.
And what is it? 45 is the new 25, or 25 is the new 45?
45 is the new 45. I also really dislike this trend that people are like, I'm 45 and I look 25. No, you don't. You look 45, but you look great.
Yes.
I feel very much my age. I'm not ashamed of it. I love it.
Embrace you.
I love it. I'm getting to play characters now I couldn't play in my 20s. I just read to play Aphrodite. Like, come on. Like, that, you need the weight of the world to play that, you know?
Is that the Greek goddess of love?
Yeah. Like, I get to play mothers. I didn't play mothers for a long time. I've been a mom for 21 years. Um, I get to play these cool characters. I also get to be, talk about bullying. We can have I think there's just so much more awareness. I'm so grateful because there can be like this really nasty energy of like the old aging actress, and the young girls. And I always look at these young girls like, wow, let me nurture you. Let me show you what's possible. Like it's never a competition. If anything, I feel like I'm the matriarch on set and I get to be that voice of like comfort and reason. Like, you got a contract question? Let's talk about it. I've been there. You shouldn't be doing it on your own. You should have mentors.
Does social media get in the way of learning or technology in general?
Distraction gets in the way, I think, and you can choose to be distracted. I mean, we have more access now. Like I said, I used to carry my books and FedEx my papers, and now it's like, uh, you can do anything you want now. You can make movies. You could be your own director. You could be your own Tarantino. You got a phone. You got some creative friends, or you can sit and consume TikToks. Your choice.
Yeah, that's true. Alaina, this has been incredible. And as we wrap up this podcast episode, is there anything that I missed, um, or anything perhaps that you want to share to the world about perhaps your journey, any takeaways if perhaps you were to give your younger self, some advice, what would that be? Or just wanted to open up to anything that you wanted to share in final words.
Thank you. I think if I were to, I wouldn't change anything because that, we are who we are because of our experiences. But if I were to give my younger self advice, it would be, we have this saying when you go into a casting, a lot of times casting directors will say, have fun. And I never understood that when I was younger. I was like, have fun. I'm serious. Take me seriously. And now I'm just like, play in all things, have karaoke in the car with your kids, enjoy dinner, like game nights, all enjoy. Life is meant to be enjoyed. So enjoy your life.
Is that one of the takeaways from when you go to these conferences and events and you see all these crowds of fans? And do you ever get that feeling of, man, I get to do this for a living and I get to make people smile?
Yeah, we sell joy. I mean, it's a blessing. It's a lot of times the fandom comes to be together. It's their community. It's their shared interest. It's like going to a concert. It's like going to an event of likeness, of shared interests. And so one thing that is happening now in the supernatural fandom that I would used to experience in the Stargate fandom and also Smallville, a lot of families. So we're getting like with Stargate, it used to be like, a family would come up and the kids towering over the parents. And they're like, we started watching this on Friday nights because we had a newborn and we couldn't go out. And then it became like a family show and you're part of their family. And you just kind of have that shared experience and you get to talk to people and see how this community has impacted their lives. So it's a blessing. I'm so grateful.
Is that one of the most pleasant surprises you've had in this role of being an actor?
I had no idea. I didn't know I didn't know conventions existed. Um, let alone that, it could be something that was lucrative and that I participated in and that it had so much meaning. We do with Supernatural, like I said, we're very philanthropic. We do a lot of merch and it benefits a lot of charities. We were able to build an orphanage in Haiti. We built a school in Nicaragua. This is all the fans just participating and us facilitating. And yeah, it's just good. We're just, I don't know, it's just feels good.
That's a component of kindness and empathy.
Community. Yeah.
Yes. Like-minded individuals coming together for a common purpose. Yeah. Well, Alaina, this has been an absolute honor. Thank you so kindly for coming on the podcast. And citizens, I like to call my fans citizens of Yog Nation.
I love it. What do we call you? What are you? Gratitude gangster.
Sure. Okay. I prefer Guardians of Gratitude, but well, actually, no. Yeah, okay. So now I'm on your train of thought. So there's two G's in Yoga Nation. The first G is again is the spelling of my name, just in short, Yog, and then the extra G stands for either gratitude or gangsta. So
Okay, okay, okay. Got it. On I don't know if on your screen, my screen is like I am frozen in like a big laugh, which is perfect for
then that's a great way to end the segment.
love it. Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. It was an honor and it's so great to talk to you as always.
Thank you. Likewise. Bye for now.